All right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's get down to business. Nope. This is a fun lesson, one I've been looking forward to. It's a follow-up on a couple of others that I've done on reggae drum beats and drum fills. And this is really not meant to be a history for you. It's not meant to be an all-inclusive educational resource. It's meant to give you 5 drum fills that are from the reggae style of music, from popular recordings, from different drummers, so that you can put it into your playing whenever you're playing in the reggae style. What I want to emphasize to you is you have to listen. Because oftentimes we see that it's not as complex of a fill, and so we move on and we completely miss the stylings. And that's what's really important with world rhythms, especially with this one. It's got a really rich heritage. So I give you all of the drummers, I give you the songs they're from, the albums they're from, the artists, and I do that so that you will go listen. So let's jump on the drum set, and if I can keep from tripping over all of these chords, and we're gonna start looking at 5 drum fills that you can use in your reggae drumming today. Again, listening is the most important thing. Be sure and subscribe to the channel. I've got more lessons coming on this. The sheet music for these are below in a pinned comment as well as in the video description. All right, so let's get down to business. Again, if you haven't, be sure and download that sheet music as well. Subscribe to the channel because there's new videos coming all the time and more about this topic in particular. That sheet music is in a pinned comment or in the video description. You can find that link in both places. And again, I can't emphasize enough, listen, listen, listen. Use these examples to inform your playing. Use them as a starting place, a jumping off point. Don't use them as an end to itself. You can't learn these fills outside of starting to learn some of the history of the actual music. Now, this first fill is from a song by Black Uhuru and a group named Black Uhuru, and the song is called Sinsemilla. And I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, let me know in the comments. And off of that same titled album. And the drummer, I believe, is Sly Dunbar. And I've listened to them play this song live. I break out the groove in another lesson, a really cool groove. And it's a modified steppers groove for all intents and purposes. But this drum fill they play this live as well as on the recording. So it's kind of a staple for that song. And the 16th notes are going to be here, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Now I will say, whether you feel it this way or whether you feel it in cut time, whenever we go to notate it, sometimes the tempos say, okay, well, it makes more sense to notate this in cut time or in half time. So just check out the notations for that. But sometimes how it's written, it can be felt differently, but because of the tempo, it makes more sense to write it one way. So anyway, just a note there. So on here, we have basically a 16th note based fill, and this is the skeleton of it. It's gonna go like this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. On 4 we have 4. So we have the classic ending the drum fill before the actual measure ends, which is kind of a staple within reggae music. And so but instead of doing 1 hit, we're gonna play 30-second notes on the tom. So it's gonna be 2 hits, and it's 30-second notes, but to me it's almost a flam sometimes when I hear it played, depending on the recording I'm listening to. But it's 2 30-second notes, and so slowly it goes. So So with this, I tried to, in every fill, include a different drummer from the genre, and this one is with a artist named Gregory Isaacs, and then I'm making sure I get all of this information right, just so you can go check out these albums and so on. The album is Night Nurse. There's a song on there called Night Nurse that you can also hear this intro fill on. This intro fill specifically comes from Stranger in Town. This intro feels all over that album, and you can also see Stuart Copeland bring this into his playing. In one of my lessons, I actually break out how he took this very typical reggae drum intro fill and used it for the Police. And the drummer was Lincoln Style Scott, I believe, on that album. Again, that's Gregory Isaacs, and the album's Night Nurse. This song is Stranger in Town. So after this drum fill, we go into a typical rockers style groove into this song. But and we can notate it again in two different ways, but the way I feel this song is 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and although sometimes it's easier to notate it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, just because the notation makes a little bit more sense and the notes aren't as dense. But I'll go ahead and break it out, feeling it in that almost a halftime. And so the intro fill is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and then we have this triplet or 4-stroke rough, a triplet type of a rhythm into that downbeat. So it's 4 E and with that 4-stroke rough at the beginning. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and. So that's going to be a very simple and very typical reggae drum groove that you can use for intros. Again, it's found all over that album, Night Nurse by Gregory Isaacs, so be sure and go check that out. Lincoln Scott's drumming is fantastic on that album. This third drum fill is actually off of a Mighty Diamonds song, and the drummer there is the song is called I Need a Roof. It's off the album Right Time, and then the drummer is going to be Anthony Benbow Creary, I believe is who played on that. If it's not, as always, correct me in the comments. Like I try to research this stuff and make sure it's spot on, but every now and then I can miss something. And so what we're going to do, this is the intro fill, and it's very similar to the fill that just happened. And then it's got that 4-stroke rough, and it's got this idea at the front. And then it's gonna vary just a little bit in that it's gonna add something to the end of that. So we have exactly what we just did. And then we're going to add at the end of it. This next drum fill is from a song called Soul Rebel, which I believe was originally a Marley tune, and the Bunny Wailer did it on a, I think it's a tribute album. Now there's 3 different, the album's called Time Will Tell. It's on the sheet music, all this information, I tried to put it there so you could look this stuff up, so be sure and download that. But there's 3 different drummers on that album, and the drummers are Sly Dunbar, Carlton, Santa Davis, and Lincoln Style Scott. And so there's several different drummers on there, and I'm not exactly sure who played this, but it essentially goes into a rocker style groove from this. And the drum fill is very, very simple. It's just a kick drum, and it, you could fudge it. It's like it's a ghosted type of a kick drum. More emphasis is on the 4, and it's not quite on the E, but not. It's just a little north of that, and so it's. Again, a really simple drum fill that's really effective, and you can use it for an intro. You can use it for several different sections of songs, and it's just kind of a good go-to fill as while you're learning the style, obviously. So that's what all these are meant to be. They're just meant to be fills for you to take hold of and grasp hold of while you're learning deeper into the style. This last one is a Bob Marley tune. Gotta put my man Carlton Barrett in there. Off of the song Buffalo Soldier. It's a really simple fill. It's a quarter note triplet type of vibe, and it comes at the beginning of that song, right about the 7-second mark. And so what it's going to do, if we're here, it's going to be kind of the rhythm. So if we're here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have kick drum, then 2 quarter note triplets on the snare drum. Then 2 more quarter note triplets on the snare drum with a kick drum on the first one. And then on your floor tom, 2 triplets. This fill will go into a steppers type of a vibe, and so if we were to play the fill into the groove, this is what that would sound like. And there you have 5 reggae drum fills from 5 specific songs from 5 different drummers, and the information to go look them up and check out not only those drummers but the artists they played with. And so what I was hoping to do is not just give you some drum fills, but kind of sneakily on the backside of this actually give you some information that you can research and go dive deeper into this style. That is the whole point of this thing. It's the whole point of why I do what I do. Don't just learn a couple of licks for each style. Go and study these drummers that I talked about in here, these bands that I talked about. I'm always learning, and I always want to dig deeper into these styles. So leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite drum fill is within the reggae style. If you have some songs, share those so we can all kind of just like learn from each other. If this has helped you, share it with somebody that you think it may help as well. Download that sheet music. It has all of the information for the albums, the songs, the artists, the drummers, all of that stuff is in there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. You're missing out. I'm releasing 3 videos a week, drum lessons, product tips, drum tips, practice videos, all kinds of stuff. So hit that notifications bell so you know when there's new stuff uploaded. Go dig deeper into this style. It's a really rich style with a rich heritage and a really proud people behind it. So be sure and do that. But whatever you do, I'll see you here in the next video.